Hey everybody, this is Michelle.
And this is Julie, and we are coming to you from Seattle, Washington, the beautiful Emerald City. But we actually are coming to you with an episode that we recorded at our cabin in Yelm, Washington.
It was so beautiful.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And we recorded with Jennifer Brazier, and this is going to be part 2 of that episode. Jennifer Brazier is a medium who I've known for many, many years, and she was gracious enough to come and spend some time with us. And we so enjoyed having her and really just spending time with her. She's a delight. So
I learned so many new things.
I know.
Really, it was so great just sitting and have the conversation. I can't wait for everybody to listen to the rest. So we're going to go ahead and just pick up where we left off last week and hope that you enjoy it as much. There's some really good stuff to look forward to in this one. So,
and everybody out there, if you're not a believer, just keep an open mind. There's nothing wrong with keeping an open mind and hearing what's coming out of this episode. It's really interesting stuff that we feel really good about. And I hope, and Michelle hopes, that you feel good about it too.
Yeah, enjoy. What does intuition have to do with this? Because I have always felt like I'm a pretty intuitive person, paying attention to what something's telling me in my gut. Because typically when I go against what that is, it's always bad.
Exactly. I believe that everybody has intuition. Everybody, especially females, have a little bit stronger. I think, I'm going to go back to the mother instinct.
Yeah.
Protecting our cubs. But intuition is really, it's not honored a lot. People will, second guess it and go, what if I'm wrong? Or what, I need them to tell me if I should go to the doctor, or I should have somebody tell me to do this, versus going, something's not right.
Right.
We know our physical body. We also know our environment. If it feels wrong, it's probably wrong. But there is something really cool about what you just said there, because all mediums are intuitive, but not all people that are intuitive are mediums, because a medium is able to connect with the unseen world, and intuitive is able to feel the energy typically within themselves. Like, oh, I know I need to drive down that street, or I know I need to call him and see how he's feeling.
Right.
That's intuition. So what I find is really kind of cool about this, or it's cool to me, is it kind of explains, but there are what are called the clairs: clairvoyance, clairsentient, clairaudient, and that's the different abilities. Clair means French. It's a French word meaning clear, Okay. And so clairvoyance is clear seeing, clairaudient. So going back to clairsentient, which is really your intuition, but also when you kind of push into that, which I want you guys to go to your belly button and go about 2 inches above your belly button, and that is where they're called chakras, but this is going to be your solar plex. And your solar plex is where you feel. And so if you can just kind of visualize where that is and feel it, that's where the butterflies show up. That's where, like, my tummy hurts, Mom. Or it's like, oh my God, I know he's doing something wrong. There's just typically is going to be right there. If you lean into that, and I use the word leaning into it, just, kind of go, tell me a little bit more about this. What do I need to know more about this? You typically will get like shots of information, like I need a call, or I need to go to the doctor, or that's why I say act on your intuition.
Okay.
So there is clairsentient, as I was mentioning, with sensing the energy. So there is a difference between being empathic and being sensitive. So do either of you feel you're sensitive? Oh, Julie, you're not.
No,
I'm kidding.
I'm not. Apparently not.
No, I'm kidding.
But I feel like Michelle is a very sensitive individual, and she's empathic too. I don't really feel like I really possess those traits, or I haven't noticed them. Maybe
I'm going to have you remove the word possess when we're talking about this word.
Possess.
You haven't been blessed with those traits.
Or I haven't honed them, one or the other.
I would use probably, there's some people are meant to play the piano. Some people are meant to be artists, and some people are meant to be athletes. Athletes. Jeez, we know what that is. As much as I try to sing or be, do any of that, I fall flat. It's not going to work for me. So if we lean into what we know feels right, and you may not be. But I love talking about if somebody is sensitive sensitive or if they're empathic, because there's two different things.
Okay.
Somebody that's sensitive, clairsentient, is that they will sense. They'll walk into a room and feel the room is just lovely, or they walk into a business and they're like, I don't want to be here.
Right.
You may pull up a website and go, this is bad.
Mm-hmm.
It is a sense that you get. It's that feeling. So they sense the energy. Now, somebody that's empathic,
They feel it.
they become, they feel it and they become it. And it is really hard for people like this. And I am extremely empathic. I will feel a headache. I will feel cramps. I will feel disease. I will feel lying and mental illness. I feel it. So if you understand somebody that's empathic, someone such as myself, I'll say, okay, well, this is not my headache. I know I don't have a headache. I know my feet aren't hurting. I know this is not my knee that hurts. So I'll always look around my environment and go, oh, it belongs to her or him.
Mm-hmm.
I will feel like I get pushed to them. So that's empathic. And you guys, if any of you are empathic and it's hard for you to separate it, this is where a lot of people will go in and get diagnosed that they have a mental illness.
Okay.
And they don't have a mental illness.
Yeah.
They are just extremely empathic, especially little kids that, I don't want to do that. I don't like that class. I don't want this. And, it's like, oh, quit whining. You got to go.
Mm-hmm. But there's a reason maybe that they don't want to.
Absolutely. I mean, when we were little, we were already picking up all this stuff intuitively until somebody along the line said, you can't feel that way or you shouldn't act that way. So people that are empathic, such as you, Michelle, we have to find a way that we have to be out in nature more. We need nature. Nature will always ground us. We need to have more water in us. We need to hydrate. We need to be around water, lakes, pools, streams, rivers.
Oh, wow.
To calm me. I know 100% that I have to have the nature and the water to bring me down. If not, I start getting...
I'm very in tune with nature. I love nature. Maybe that's why I'm drawn to going to the water.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is. It soothes you. It's
Do you get anxious?
I'll get anxious. Yeah.
When you don't have it around you. So like if you went to a Manhattan or somewhere where it's like a concrete jungle.
I'll have to pull it in. And what I'll do is I will only be able to be in certain places for a period of time. If I'm around certain people, I have to have I call it an exit. I've got to be able to go. I can be here for an hour, but I got to go.
Okay.
It's interesting. I mean, I've known that about myself, but I feel like there's sometimes when I'm with people or whatever that I talk about and I notice things in nature way more than people, just most people.
I have a really cool exercise. Are you guys up for this exercise?
Yes.
Anybody that's listening, you can do this exercise from wherever you are at. Now, if you're driving, please pay attention to the road. So what I want you to do, if you have the opportunity wherever you're at, is I want you to look outside. And what I mean outside is I want you to find nature. So if wherever you are at, for this exercise to work, you're going to want to be able to see nature. So as you look out into nature, if you don't have nature, you can look at a picture of nature. That may help also, something that is nature relevant. So I want you guys to look out into the side, and I want you both to find something that you're drawn to. Just allow yourself to be drawn to it.
Okay.
And okay. So how about you, Michelle? You got one? Good. Okay, Julie, what is it tell me what you're being drawn to?
There's a set of 4 trees that are out here. They all have the bark on them that is partially white. And I can see some of the branches coming down, a little bit of the branches and some of the foliage that is below it. So I can only see the tree they're different ages, but I can see probably 20 feet of it, but it's the middle section.
Okay. So what do you find beautiful about that? What drew you to that?
Just peaceful. It's peaceful. It looks like they've got their own story, really, in a lot of ways with the way the bark is, and that might have to do with how the sunshine hits it. But they look healthy.
Okay.
And like they've been there for a long time.
If those trees or what you're looking at could tell you what it needs, what is it that they need?
For me not to cut them down.
Okay, so they don't want to be destroyed. Is that it?
Yeah.
What else do they need besides
water and sunshine, and just to let people leave them alone.
Leave them alone. Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And Michelle, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at a very small tree out here that has the sunshine on it.
So tell me, what is it that you find that's beautiful about that?
It looks beautiful to me because of the way the sunshine is hitting it, and you can't quite see things completely. It looks like it might have flowers on it, but I can't really tell. So that's beautiful. And it's young.
Wow. Okay. And if that tree could tell you what it needs. What is it that it needs?
It needs strength and support.
Does it know how it can get that strength and that support?
I don't know if it knows.
If it did know, how would it get it?
I think from within itself and the roots of it and those that are around it supporting it.
Beautiful. Is there anything else it needs besides the support from those around it and the strength from its roots?
Just enlightenment and encouragement.
Wow. Okay. So this exercise, as simple as it is, there's 3 questions. You find something that is beautiful. This is a reflection of you. And when you talked about what you saw that was beautiful, you were talking about yourself. And when you asked it, what does it need? It revealed what you need.
Oh, wow. I want to be left alone. Apparently. Don't cut me down.
Yeah, well, you can leave you alone. Maybe you're over committed to things. Maybe you need some time alone. Maybe, people are starting to take from you and you're not able to grow in the area that you want to.
Yeah. And yours looks kind of like a roadie, I think. A little bit like does it look like a roadie?
How do you know what I'm looking at?
I just thought you were looking.
It doesn't look like a rhododendron to me.
No. But it's young. You're right. It has the sunshine on it.
Yeah, right here.
Yep.
Yep.
We're looking outside the window on the lower level of the A-frame house, just FYI.
Yeah.
So how does that feel talking about what you found was beautiful about it?
How does it feel
knowing that you're talking about
knowing that
yourself?
I'm talking about myself?
It's still young and it's beautiful and some things are not being shown or being revealed. You're not sure if it's budding or how does that feel knowing that that's what you're talking about yourself? I want to say your soul is telling you this. And then even going another step and going, so what do I need?
I need to look a little bit further into that. Yeah.
I guess I hadn't looked at it that way.
For clarity.
Going down to the roots, that's going down to your basics. You talked about the surroundings that it needs to pull from its surroundings. That would be friends and family and, your community. Lean on them instead of maybe isolating or not asking for help.
Right.
So just a beautiful exercise that I find that some days when I wake up and I feel like, you know what, I've pissed in the wind backwards, that I just sometimes say, what am I doing? I feel ugly. I feel fat. I feel just, confused. We all kind of get there.
Oh, yeah.
And so by doing this exercise, nature has never, ever let me down. In fact, I always start to laugh because I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah.
It rights you.
Yeah, it does. It really does. So just trying a little, these little simple things to kind of bring you back into alignment, especially when you're not sure what to do next or how to handle it. Yeah. If we look for something that's natural, outside, you're going to get more of a relevant answer versus looking for something that's in your surroundings, such as, maybe a desk or a picture. But you can do this exercise the same way by looking at, like this picture of this owl here. Each one of you will both of you will interpret something different from this of what, you're pulling from it. And what is really kind of wonderful if you think about this is that each one of us has a perception on what's happening. So if we all 3 had a chocolate chip cookie, one of us in the group may go, this is the best chocolate chip cookie. Oh my God, this is the best. And then someone else in the group will go, got too much fat in it. I can tell it's got the butter. It feels icky on my tongue. And then the third person is like, I don't even want any of this. I would rather have something that's salty. Now, is it the salty person doesn't like the chocolate chips? I mean, where I'm going with this is that there's no right.
Right.
There is no
Everybody has their own perception.
And how cool is that?
Yeah.
Except when somebody has been molded by somebody that has a limited perception. Their view on life is very controlled. Religion does that to us.
Judgment.
Yes. Judgment.
Yeah. You know what? Some families, it depends on how you were brought up. If it's, way out in the country or in the city, or we're brought up different.
Yep.
So it's just kind of being aware of, what's happening. It goes back to, the awareness. It goes back to feeling. It goes back to that sensitivity and the empathy of you find yourself feeling it. And I can tell you, Michelle, because I'm seeing you as you were looking at that, you were starting to tear up as you were looking at that. You saw the beauty in it. You were feeling what you saw.
Yeah.
That's powerful. I would absolutely tell you to hone into that because you mentioned you're intuitive, but you're extremely sensitive. You're probably empathic to a point that you're like, I don't know how to handle this. And I would probably go so far as to say that if you started immersing yourself a little bit into understanding your own abilities intuitively, maybe even with mediumship, you'd be very good at this. Just something to just kind of push out there.
She picks up on little things a lot. Just, yeah, she's like the wise old owl, but she's not old.
Oh.
You're right there on the wall.
There
like
you
that
go.
one.
Like the owl on the wall or that young tree out there.
Yeah.
But when we are describing something, if we become clinical about it or we become matter of fact, we're not feeling.
Right.
And a lot of us have learned to not feel. And if we feel, we're put down for that or, so there's a lot of us that.
So we've held that in throughout the years because it's not something that's necessarily accepted in the surroundings that our family or whatever we're at.
But what's kind of good about this is that we take that and that becomes what our skill is and what we're really good at. And I know I talked earlier about, Julie and I have known each other for, years. A couple years.
I was thinking about that.
It's like years. We were I was in my 20s. And so you know what? Yeah.
We're like 30 years. I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, we were close, we knew each other, not right away, but.
But what's interesting about that is, going back to that time frame of where we were then to where we are now. Is we're completely different people.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a bad way because everything that I've went through has kind of got me to where I'm at today. And I have no regrets for that. There's some things that I think I wasted too much time on, but I think that's part of me, But, sometimes we have to look at those that molded us, that they gave us something that's beautiful. I mean, Julie, you're just the most incredible leader. You probably could lead a war. I mean, if you ever get into politics, I will be Team Julie and I will be the one walking up and down the streets or signing things for
Jules rules. Jules rules.
No one would accept my politics now unless I live on the West Coast, right?
I just feel that, you're matter of fact about things. You're going to get it done. And you know what? There's some hard decisions that you've had to make in your life and you did it because you had to do it. I mean, she just mentioned earlier that her business, isn't as busy as it has been. So she had to lay off one of her own family members. And I thought, oh, hell, that had to have been hard.
Oh, honey, it was hard. But you know what? I worked through it with her and she's in a good place.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
So things happen and the skills that she learned prior is she's taking that now with her to her next job or to the next job. So, we become bitter. We become angry at, God, I can't believe he did this to me or she did this to me. Get over yourself.
Yeah.
I know. There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that out there.
We got to they polished us. You know what? We're polished now.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
I find myself in a state of denial though about different things. Like, like Mary, my business partner, she's the one that kind of she's a grounder. She's more of a grounder in that way where I'm like, no, it's fine. We've got this. We'll do it, whatever, and I always make a way to make things happen and we would have probably been fine. But the timing for that was so just spot on for what was needed for Zoe. And that was not something that I would have necessarily picked up on. So it all happens, like you said, the way it's supposed to.
It really
Even
does.
if it was a little painful at the time, I think it's way better now.
Absolutely. We try to control the outcomes. And that's one of the things as being a medium that I learned early on is my tutors that taught me, you can't control the outcome. You can't control who's going to show up. You can't control the message. You can only control where you're at right now and to be the best, use your abilities to explain what's happening. But I think all of us, we grew up in an era that we're women where we are to, we got to take care of ourselves. Yeah. We're in that generation of now we can afford our own houses. We buy our own cars. I sound like
we're not relying on other people.
I sound like I want to start.
I'm a survivor.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da.
That's exactly it. Yeah, I just tend to, when I hear people going into that poor me or can you believe this is happening, I'm always like, man, shake it off.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift. Or, you know what, please don't, when you fall into that, it's hard to get out of that hole.
I think a lot of that might also have to do with what level of strength you've kind of recognized in yourself, depending upon how old you are and what you've been through, because there's things that I just wasn't able to get out of, or I wasn't able to move on to until I was at that maturity level where I could acknowledge it. And I'm sure that's the same for a lot of people.
Oh, I would assume, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting. I'm just thinking of the differences with you and I, Jules, like your matter of factness and my sensitivity. Cause there's times when we're talking, she's like, are you going to cry right now? Are you starting to cry?
And if I start crying, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling very vulnerable. Right?
I think I've only seen you once cry.
Yeah, probably.
And I remember what it was. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm better now. I cry more. I mean, I feel more, as I've gotten older.
We were learned not to cry, though. I mean, what's the first thing that happens when you see someone cry? You want to hand them a Kleenex. You want to lean over and you want to take care of it or lift it back up.
Someone didn't take their Viagra.
Yeah. Julie's mic just went down.
Sideways.
Yeah.
Sorry for anybody who takes Viagra. No shade. Okay. There we go.
There you
go. So mediumship. We were talking earlier and we were on the deck outside in nature with the sunshine and everything. And we had some things that Jen was sharing with us. And I don't know if your mind is in the place to do some of that now or if you're feeling good about it. Maybe we're ready, if you're ready.
I'd be more than happy to. So I just want to share with people how I open the door to the unseen world. Is I want you to all imagine that you hear somebody knock at your front door. And when you hear them knock at your front door, you get to have the choice. Do you get up and go answer the door? Is it what time of the day? Are you expecting someone? Is it the middle of the night and you're creeped out? So with myself, it's like I feel them knock at the door. Now that's metaphorically. I don't hear someone knocking at a door, but I want you to think that way. And so when I start to get that feeling that someone's here, or that they are coming closer to me, is that I feel them behind me and then they come close to me on my sides, on both sides of me. And it's almost like being in a grocery store and someone's too close to me. And I want my own space.
You're looking at the same produce.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I find myself kind of shaking, kind of moving around like, okay, push back. And then I realize what's going on. Now, if I'm in a place that somebody's accepting a reading or it's been planned, I don't go into all of that detail. I just immediately, I know it's what it is, and I go. But if it's in the middle of the night, I will immediately not answer the door and say, no, I'm not going to communicate with you.
So does that wake you up?
It did very early on when they would always want to get my attention. The more I did this work, the more they wanted to speak with me. And I had levels of different things happen. Like I'd wake up and I'd shut my eyes and I could see just a bunch of pictures of just faces, just all these faces. And then I went through this time of hearing all this different music. And so I realized now that they were attuning me. And I won't go into all of that right now, but that's how they did it with me. They do it different with everybody.
Was it scary?
Now, as soon as I realized that was happening, I was very open to it until it started affecting my sleep.
Right.
And so when it affects my sleep, I tell them I'm still in the physical.
Right.
I need my sleep, and I'm one that needs 7 to 8 hours of sleep. If not, I am a biatch. I'm very irritable, the whole 9 yards. So I had to kind of set the boundaries with them. And that's what has to happen, you guys, is that you've got to say, okay, I'm here to, and you set your intention. I'm here to be of service. I'm here to give you a voice. I'm here to prove you haven't died. And then sometimes I'll mention the people's name, like I'm sitting here with Julie and Michelle, and I'd love to hear from their loved ones, whoever has something to say. And, I make it very light, like just as I'm talking to you guys right now. I do some breathing. And that's just something that I do to kind of get me back in my physical body. I'll take some deep breaths and physically feel the breath go up to the top of my head. And then I push it down to the soles of my feet. And then as soon as it gets down to the soles of my feet, I'll push it even further to go out into the earth. And as I do that, I anchor onto the earth, and that will settle me. And that removes me from crying or being anxious.
You can be more objective, maybe with.
I wouldn't say objective. I just think I'm more in control.
Okay.
Objective would be like, is that a green or blue? No, this is more of, because I can be very untethered and just very emotional when they come forward. Like, oh my God, look who's here.
Yeah.
And so I try not to allow that to happen. And I have found that doing these deep breathings. And then there's a couple things I say to myself.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How about when you're dreaming? Do you feel like things
I rarely dream.
So you don't remember, or if you do dream, you don't remember?
I dream, but you guys, I dream so sporadically. And when I dream, it's dreams that are involving people from probably 20, 30 years ago in my life.
Okay.
I was going to say it's probably more reality driven with what abilities you have.
Yeah, I'm pretty exhausted. I mean, I'm tired. It's the energy that I use is I have to use my own energy as I'm doing this. And as I connect with the spirit world, I have to keep my energy up. Best way I can say, it's like I'm running. And you know what? I've learned to be a marathon runner, even though I don't run, but I've also realized that when I can't run anymore, I got to stop. But so those are the kind of the basic things that I do, just so you understand.
To
And then-
prepare.
and then whomever I'm sitting with, I will ask them, do you have a question about the afterlife or mediumship or anything that you want to ask? And I did ask that both to you upstairs.
Mhm.
And that's my word. That's my saying to them to go, I'm ready to start with you. Now, if I'm not ready, they will then make me start losing my thoughts because they realize that whoever I'm working with is ready to go and I don't need to go any further. Because there's some time that I want to make sure whoever's sitting with me feels comfortable with me. And I also want to make sure that I'm going to be good for them. If not, I will have to say, I'm sorry, this isn't going to work today. I have to own that. I mean, not every
Does that
day.
have to do with like if they're skeptical or
Oh
you
my
feel
gosh, yeah. It could, they may be skeptical. They may be grieving. They may have been drinking or using drugs.
Okay.
There's something that's out of sync or mental illnesses. And usually when that happens, I now have learned, I get a feeling like, oh, wow, that's what's going on. And so am I all knowing? Absolutely not. But I've learned in doing this work that the spirit world has created like a library with me. And so when I feel certain feelings on my body, I now associate that with being, oh, that's diabetes.
Okay.
Oh, that's a man. Oh, that's an uncle. Oh, that's his brother. Oh, that's going to be her son. So they continually use those same indicators with me. The more that I've done this, the faster I can get with it and start just saying, this is what's happening. And I start going. Now, it's also important that when I do a reading or I'm working with someone is that the other person participates with me. And how they participate is just talking, because your thoughts, your words, and your actions push out energy. So if you think positive, you talk positive, you act positive, positive things are going to happen. Huh?
Yeah.
You reverse it and it's negative, negative. So if somebody's thinking negative, talking positive, and then acting positive, they manipulated their own energy. Those are the people that say, why can't I find a husband? Why can't I find a job? I'm like, because you're not worthy.
You're
of
not
it.
thinking of it.
Yeah. No, they're manipulating their energy.
Okay, I have one more question. Michelle, don't laugh at me because she thinks I have too many questions.
It's appropriate.
Let's just say I'm just coming up with like an example scenario. You're on a beach in Mallorca, Spain, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
And you have people that are around you maybe that have cancer. Mm-hmm. Can you feel their pain from their cancer, even though you're not, like you don't know them, they're walking by you, or can you shut those things off?
Absolutely. I've learned that's boundaries. That is, no, I'm not receiving this. I may get a feeling that all of a sudden, and I'll use like headache.
Okay.
And I typically never get headaches. So if I get a headache, I got to kind of dial into that. And if I look over, how it works for me is that if I look at someone, I usually see a light go on around them, like, a light. And then I'm like, oh, I know I'm with her, or I know I'm with this person. But I would never, ever, ever, ever walk up to somebody on a beach, in a gas station, in a pub, in a grocery store and say, I've got your mother here with me.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, because that would kind of freak them out.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so unethical. That is so disrespectful.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going on with them? What if they just, you don't, and there's television shows out there that you see that happen and realize everybody that's scripted.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what people are seeing, that we're watching TLC or
It's
whatever.
Scripted. And there's a guy out there that does the taxi and he has people get in the taxi with him and he reads them. They're all actors and they signed off to get the reading.
Really?
People. Yes.
There's that guy that's in like Beverly Hills or something too. Like in
The young kid?
Yeah, the young kid.
Oh, he's good. I like Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler.
Henry. Oh,
Yes.
I love him.
Yeah,
he's a good egg.
He seems like, very genuine, when I've watched that. And then there's the one, Teresa. She's from the East Coast or something.
I don't watch TV.
Teresa Caputo.
I don't. Yeah.
Caputo, yeah.
She's the Long Island medium. And I love that you don't watch TV because then you're not, oh, wow.
No.
Too much negative stuff to go in my brain.
Girl,
This isn't on TV. It's like on streaming, but whatever. I haven't watched them. I've watched little bits of them, but I've got
it's not like I never watched TV.
Pure thing right here. What you should have your own show, really. It's like, because I know what you come with. I haven't. I've seen it. I've seen those things, or
I watch what I choose to watch.
There you go.
Yeah.
No media. No news.
Nope.
Things like that.
Well, we're into it. Yeah, I could go off on about that too. But
I would imagine though, what you were talking about, like you're not going to walk up to somebody in a grocery store and say, I have your mother here with me. So on the mother's side, she's probably excited that you're there, and she, that you're there with this person. So they're trying, is that what's happening? Is that they're trying to.
So I love that you asked that, because what I did, and this started probably about, now maybe 20 years ago, is that I told the spirit world, if you make your loved one walk up to me and say this sentence to me, it's going to be off the wall. It's going to be a sentence that, and I don't want to say it out loud because everyone will say it to me now.
Yeah.
But it's going to be very unique. I've had probably about 20 different people in situations come up and just randomly say this to me. And I'll look at them and I'm like,
the loved one, the one that's on earth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Came up to you. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I was in a taxi once and somebody said, I don't know why I want to say this to you, but da-da-da-da-da. And I said, okay. And I said, well, can I share something with you? Anyway, it turned in, every one of them had been lovely.
Yeah.
And that's kind of your cue.
That's cool.
Yeah,
right?
it's kind
I like
of
that.
It's like it's their passcode.
It's like the secret.
Passcode.
Yeah, the secret passcode.
Yeah. So no, I think that people that do that or feel they have to tell everybody everything they're getting. I know a gal that cuts hair, and she feels like anytime she cuts someone's hair, she may honestly be touching the spirit world, but she feels she has to tell them. And I'm like, wow, I don't think you
What if they don't want to know?
Yeah. To your point, you just don't know what place they're in mentally for that.
You don't know. At least somebody that shows up with me and gets on a Zoom call, they already know they've paid for this.
Yeah.
So I had a funny story. I had a guy yesterday, well, funny story, but I had a guy show up yesterday, he and his wife, and he walked in and I could just tell he reminded me of somebody I hung out in high school, just those guys that walk in that are like the jocks that they've been working out and, his arms are out. And I was like, yeah, okay. And so we sat down and she immediately started crying. And she goes, I've been waiting for this. And, and I said, oh, it's going to be all right. And so we started talking and I was trying to make them feel comfortable. And I looked at him and I don't know where it came out of my mouth. It was a bitch medium, I guess. He says, so you don't want to be here, do you?
Call it what it is.
Yeah.
And he says, no, I think I want to be here. And I says, okay, well, I'm getting a vibe here that you don't. There's something about this, almost like I have to prove something. He goes, oh my God, I just said to them in my head, make her prove it to me. So what was really kind of funny about this whole thing is that I've learned that I can't control this.
Yes.
Even though I wanted him to have a beautiful experience and I wanted his wife to not cry anymore. I mean, that's just Jennifer. But what happened is the spirit world came through and the majority of the individuals that came through were for him. This man was a puddle. Hugging me at the end going, how can I find you? Can I please, anyway.
Because he hadn't really addressed things maybe,
Well,
he needed confirmation.
I think that it was his religion. And he also, he's a hard-headed, I'm going to go with, any of those men out there, I'm sorry to say this, but some of you are told you can't cry.
Yeah, that's very true.
And some of you are told you can't really feel. You've got to do this and that. And I really feel like that's where that guy was coming from, is that he wanted to come off as this like big jock. Now that even though he was in his 50s, he was just like, when he ended up leaving, he just goes, I just don't know how to thank you because it's surreal to me of what's happened.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll take the thank you, but it's not me. It's because your family, your loved ones knew you needed this so that you can relax and not be this hard-headed.
And it probably will change his approach on everything.
Yeah. It'll be up to him.
Yeah.
It'll be up to him,
Gives him something to work with, though.
Let's just see what the spirit world has for us. If they are able to give some dazzling information here.
Dazzle, dazzle.
Dazzle, dazzle. I know. So can we have some music and can we have some, I'm kidding.
Oh, I thought Michelle was going to sing.
Music maestro.
So as I've got a woman here with me, she immediately came forward and I don't know if she is throwing batons in the air, like you have the batons when you were in like a marching band or in school, but she's twirling it. She's twirling the baton and I almost feel like she's marching. She's got special boots on. She's with, I feel like maybe it's a high school or a junior high that is, oh man, she's into this too. And I know we talked about music and I feel like she wants to sing. And I can sense on a level with her is that she does have a good voice. And this is just the kind of the beginning to push her a little bit. She's bringing you back to her younger life. Wow. Michelle, would you understand who this possibly is? Yes or no?
No.
No, you don't understand who this is. So she's showing me as a younger girl, but I want to go back to she's like in the 50s. I also know that she passed from an illness. So let me jump now to how she passes. She brings me to her heart. So I know that that ultimately it's her heart she's having a heart condition with. You know what, you guys? When everybody dies, your heart stops. So that's so generic. But she's bringing me the fact that I feel like I have like cardiac arrest, or because she's bringing me up to my shoulder and it's going down my arm. I also feel like this was something that was, it was like a big heart attack, not like simple. It's just a big one. It's a massive heart. Thank you. She said massive. I also can tell you with their personality, she's kind of quiet. She has a love for reading, a love for books. She keeps showing me music. She's showing me like, I don't know if I don't know if I'm at a piano or I am at some sort of like table in front of me, but it has the chords and everything, the music that is written out on it. I know that she was able to look at the music and play. I also feel like there is multiple instruments that she could play, not just one. I know there's something about her voice too. She's showing me, and I know that this is a picture that somebody has of her, and she's in this outfit. She's petite looking. She has got on like these white boots. And I know there's a baton, and I can tell you that there's some sort of banner that's being carried either in front of her or behind her. And I don't know if this is a high school or a college, but she's known for this. She was known for this. Do either of you understand who this woman is?
No.
Mm-mm.
So even though neither of you understand who this is, somebody that's listening out there, you're going to understand who it is. So even I'm going to
something from this house, maybe?
no.
Okay.
I don't think so. No, I think that she is just, oh my gosh, I can see her clearly. She's got light brown hair or blondish hair. It has a flip curl in it, almost that girl kind of look, that curl. And she's now advancing me into her older years. And so this is going to be someone's mother, or could be an aunt, because she's talking about the notoriety. I think that she becomes famous in a level that maybe she doesn't want that familiarity around her work. I feel like somebody's done something for her and she doesn't feel she's worthy of this. But bringing her up to her senior years it's the heart that takes her life. She shows me that she's temporarily in a wheelchair for a while. I know that people were worried about putting her in a home, but they ended up doing that because it's just like they had to. She's here to talk to the female. It's a female that's to receive this, that you did the right thing. You did everything you possibly could. And I know there's medication. There's also doctor's appointments that the daughter or the daughter-in-law was involved in. Oh, I got to tell you, I really don't feel like it's the daughter. I feel like it's somebody like a niece or a daughter-in-law that's taking care of this woman because she is over. I also feel like maybe she wasn't married and didn't have children. Does any of that make sense? So when this happens, you guys, what I do is I trust that what I'm receiving, and every time the spirit world comes through, they have a message.
Yeah.
And I may not completely, you two may not validate it. Maybe the person that stayed in this house yesterday, it could be, who knows? It's not for me to be attached to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as I move forward with this, is that she's coming forward to saying, oh, she just said she gave a ring to them. I know that they have a ring, and I know that it's like a blue or a green stone that's in it, like a stone. And I know that the woman that they took care of had some money. She received money, and it has to do with music. Either she was a professor, she was there's something about the music. She may have wrote the music. I don't know that. But she wants to make sure that this girl realizes how appreciative she was of putting her life on hold, putting her family on hold to make sure that she got her to these appointments. She made sure that where her new living was comfortable. There's also a small dog. She wants to talk about the dog. The dog's back with her right now. She's saying that I have my dog. And, I don't know if it's a Chihuahua or it's a tiny guy with ears. Yeah. So just if anyone can understand who this woman is, I ask you to reach out via social media to
let us know.
To Michelle or
Yeah.
Julie. Will you have something within the
Yeah.
and they will get you in contact with me. I'd love to talk with you to give you a little bit more
I
information.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the last piece of this with this woman is here. Man, she's just like, she's so, she wants to dress perfect every day. And there's something like pantsuits. She wants to have matching pantsuits on. And I'm seeing her in a light baby blue.
It could be Hillary, but she's still alive.
this.
No. This woman's thin. Sorry, Hillary. Know that this woman feels like she owes you more than what she left for you. That what you did was bigger than anything anyone ever did for her. Via the certificates or the MD or whatever she received, that was nothing compared to someone helping her at the end of her life.
I love that.
Yeah.
Please let us know if this is
Something that
directed
resonates
for
with
you.
you.
Yeah.
I think about my mom actually helped a lot of elderly women in their twilight years so they didn't have to go to a home before they ended up either passing or they became debilitated to the point where she couldn't help them. And so it makes me wonder, she took very good care of these women.
I'm hearing the name Linda or I got a big strong L.
Okay.
And I feel like it's the name Linda. Now, that could be a middle name. That could be a last name. Could be even a street address. But I just heard Linda. If anybody understands that, please reach out to either Julie or Michelle, or you can reach me at jenniferbrazier.com and just send me a contact information and let me know that you understood. And I'm going to call her the baton twirler or the music. Yeah, because she's showing me in her younger years, which you would have not known her then, but there's memories and stories in a picture of her.
Okay.
So, wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if somebody by the name of Linda calls you
I have to
guys,
go back and look and see if there's anybody in my history.
What I love is what just happened.
I know, it's pretty
it doesn't
cool,
have to do with us sitting here, but the intent of the person on the other side.
they know that this person will either be listening to this or they know that somebody knows who that is that will get the information. It may take a week, a month. I've had people a year later write me notes and say, do you remember? And I'm like, oh, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I just, it's the bigger thing of we got to trust.
Yes.
We have to trust that we're being guided and we're being led. Now, not everybody's going to be a medium. Not everybody's going to be able to gush out information like this because it may not be what you want to do.
Yeah.
And not everybody needs to be this. We have to have different occupations out
Sure.
there. We need a balance.
Yeah.
So I have a young man with me right now. And as this young man comes forward, man, I feel kind of feisty with him. I feel with his personality is like he would have used a lot of profanity. He's bringing me right. I know that this young man committed suicide. I know that he used a gun. And I know that he was just angry and frustrated and people did what they needed to do to help him. I want to tell a little bit more about him before I go much further, is that I do feel like he is in his late teens or early 20s. I'm right in there. I could be 19, 20, 21. I'm right in there. I just feel very misunderstood. I feel angry. I feel very, it's like he finally opened his heart to someone. And when he opened his heart, he realized that he shouldn't have done it, that it was taken advantage of. And I don't know if this is from another woman or another man, but I do feel that, and I got to tell you that he's showing me what he looks like. And he has got kind of lighter brown hair, not light, but brown hair. And there's a wave to it. It's not straight and it's not really curly. He's got a wave to it. So I know there's some sort of stories or jokes about his hair, either looking like a clown when it grew out too full. Oh, wow. It's almost like I can see like red in it also. He's young. I feel like he is either transitioning into going into college or he is in his first year of college and when all of this starts to take place. I just want to stop for a second. I just want to see, do you either of you know who this is? And it may not have anything to do with either one of you. I know that both of you have children that possibly have, well, not
Friends.
possibly, but may have friends. But is there somebody that you guys are aware of that took their life when they were in their late teens, early 20s?
I do, but the description doesn't fit.
Okay. What does fit though?
Yeah. But it's not guns. It's more fentanyl stuff.
Nope. This is a weapon. This is absolutely a gun. So what do you understand?
The misunderstanding, and he it was a gun that took his life.
Was he a white male?
No.
Because it's funny that he's wanting me to talk about his race. So I think it's important that I talk about that. I don't know if he's a mixed race or there's something going on with the fact that with the culture. I just have to kind of go with that. I know that I've given you some information that may not resonate with you.
Yeah.
It's because I feel like I may, and I don't know this, but I feel like I may have 2 or 3 boys coming forward that have all taken their life. And I don't feel like they all know each other. I just feel like in the spirit world that they have this thing in common, and they know that today I'm opening myself up, that people on the airways are going to hear this and they can reach a lot of people.
Yeah.
My son that we talked about earlier, his best friend.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt you there. Because there is this, he says, I have a massive apology I owe you. And he's saying this to you. So I know that this person has been in your home and either you have made food for him or you cared for him, because he says, you always made me feel welcome in your house. And he says, what I love about you is that you always made me laugh, that you always had something positive to say, no matter what was going on. Because I feel he was kind of negative a little bit, that everything it is negative. He's angry. And you would have a way of looking at it like, oh no, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're handling it. And he says, it was just interesting to be in your household and to feel that and to be around that, because that's not what he felt like in his own home. This is no disregard to his parents or his family that he grew up in. I do believe that this young man was suffering from his own thoughts, his own issues, mental illness that maybe would have been treated or not treated. He's not letting me go that deep into it, other than to say that he knows he needs to make an apology. And I know that I'm talking to you, Michelle, but I got to tell you, I think this is more for your son. And if you choose to share this with him, he's like, I let you down. He says, I let you down. He says, I know you would have done anything for me. He also said that I know that there's some sort of conversation, either a phone call, a text, or something that goes unanswered, that your son is going, what the hell's happening here? Just let your son know, if you choose to share this with him, that he wants to take full responsibility, that he did nothing. This was something bigger. He also is mentioning that, and I got to tell you also with him, is that he's going so fast with me right now. So I know that he would have been somebody that did things just like he didn't think everything out. It's like, I'm just going to go do it. It's like almost driving without a seatbelt and thinking nothing's going to happen when I go 200 miles an hour or 190 or whatever. There's just something that he has no fear about. But he also feel like he isn't worthy of some stuff that, there's a male issue here with him. So I don't know if it's a dad issue or another brother. There's something here that somebody said something to him and they probably nonchalantly said this and he took it for 100%. But he's coming today because he definitely wants your son to know. He says, man, you made me laugh. You were there for me. Oh, he just said something that is so powerful. He says, you listened to me when no one else would listen. And you guys have got to know that if you listen to people when they're in pain and it sounds so, they're repeating it over and over, you have no idea what gift you're giving him. And he says, that's what your son did. He said, he listened to me. He didn't hold judgment and didn't tell me and he's using profanity quite a bit here. So he's like, I fucked up.
Yeah.
And he says, I didn't think this out. He says, I didn't understand or know the repercussions of how this would how many other people I would affect.
Is he regretting his decision to end his life?
He's not giving me regret. It's more like, I'm sorry. There isn't this piece. I don't get the piece of I shouldn't have done this. It's almost as if now he knows what he did and why he did it.
Okay.
And he's bringing me to another man. So without me not knowing who this man is, I'm not going to go into that depth of what it is. And I'm not saying it's a dad or a grandpa. It could have been somebody in the church or something on that line that made him feel a little less than what he was. But please know today that he's he's like full of energy. It's like he wants to either ride this bike fast or a motorcycle fast. It's like he wants to go, and he's really encouraging your son. And what's your son's name? Or
Derek.
He is trying, he says, I'm trying to be the wind underneath his wings. I'm the wind underneath his wing. I'm trying to give him flight. So if Derek's in a place that he's trying to figure out what his job is or what he should be doing with his life, he says, I'm going to give him that lift right now. I'm giving him that lift. He needs to keep talking to me. He needs to keep asking me, because I will give him those signs and I will continue to be there. Yeah, please take his love. This kid is pretty amazing. I mean, at a soul level, he is very mature, even though I feel like when he was here in the physical, he may have been very immature.
Mm-hmm. And Derek's the one that needs to hear it. Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for that. Just yes or no, do you know what this young man's name is?
Yes.
Does it start with a J? JK? Okay, I just got to leave it because I feel like I want to say like Jared or Jerry, or I gotta pull with that. So let me just kind of dance over here for a second. Julie, would you understand, or if you have any knowledge, I know that you do have a son with one of those names. Do you know if he had lost a close friend when he was in that time frame? And did this person not take his life from a weapon, but used another way of leaving this world?
Not on purpose necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he left this world, and it's because of the overdose or because of taking too much. Either I'm consuming too much, I've taken too much. Because he's now branching me from this young man, over to your son. And wow, now this person that's coming through right now, I got a different feeling with him. It's like he's just trying to escape. Meaning escape, like the feelings, escape what's going on. Now with this other person here, I just feel like he didn't feel worthy. He just was like, I'm angry. This young man here is like, I almost feel like I'm doing things for fun or for joy, and then it becomes real. And when it became real, it's like he doesn't understand what is real and what's not. And because of that he's saying, I made some decisions that were really poor. My life. Oh, he's talking about both of his parents are still alive. Would you know that?
Mm-mm. I wouldn't necessarily know. I know there's some kids that when he was a couple of years ago were driving high drunk and crashed into the back of like a semi that was parked on the side of a road. Mm-hmm. But all three of them have had people that have died of either overdoses or something along those lines. But these were the ones that were not on purpose. They just crashed.
Right. So all three of these people that were in that vehicle, they all passed?
I think two of them did and one of them didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. That's Isaac.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure exactly, other than the one person is just very strong about that. I feel like he would have been and this is a male, kind of the outspoken one or the leader, or people would have like, okay, what does he have to say or what's going on with him? I just feel like that even in school, people would have really looked at him of, what's going on. But I feel like this passing happens. It's more of like fun. I mean, we're not doing anything that I don't know how to say this other than I wasn't paying attention. Things aren't being paid attention to.
They thought they were, like they're, what's the word I'm looking for when they indestructible. Yeah. Where they're like, we're young, nothing can happen to us.
Oh yeah. I think, you know what? So many of you guys, I think, feel that you remember back when we were younger and we just think, yeah.
Invincible.
Yeah. Invincible.
Yeah.
I mean, you think like, how did I live through that? I mean, and I'm not saying that, someone like myself, I've survived a lot of, really incredible, odd, weird, horrible things. But I think it's because I've not chosen for those things, but I've got something that can help kind of make the right wrong. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
And I feel as I'm talking about with this man that's coming through, is that it's almost on a level he knew what he was doing, but not knowing. It's like, it's all right. Were they drinking high? Okay.
Both. Yeah.
Okay. I just feel like there's stimulants going, or there's something going on here. And is there also a female in the car? One female? Okay.
Yeah. I don't even know their names. I just know that it was something that he took really hard.
Yeah, I think it's just more important of like this person's trying to give the details, the evidence.
Yeah.
So you kind of go, oh, okay, I know who it is. I don't know if your son would be open to any of this, kind of the same as I said to you. But if, you can say this is what, I ended up, I don't know, however you want to say it. And again, if he's not open to it, please don't feel you got to push something through. But this young man saying, he says, you need to be responsible for your actions. He's talking to your son. You need to be responsible for how you say things and how you act, because sometimes you may not realize what you're doing is hurting other people. Kind of like a ripple effect. You may think, well, it's not, I don't know why they're hurt because of this or why they're upset about this. But he's saying because of what we did and our choices changed a community.
It did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense, though. I mean, they were young enough to where it was really devastating.
Yeah, he says that.
And there's a lot of why behind it,
I just feel like I'm going way too fast. I'm like, there's something about craziness going on. I feel like I'm laughing. The music's loud. I just feel like everything's good. I mean, this isn't intentional. This isn't like we're going to go do this. And I just feel like we're not paying attention. And that's the message that this man is bringing through to Jared is like, you're not paying attention right now, man. Just pay attention. It all does come together. And I'll just leave it with that. And that's a hard message to deliver, but
it's not going to be a surprising one, quite honestly. I don't think it will be surprising because it's something that he's a pretty sensitive person. And I think having some kind of an answer to that would actually be really helpful.
He also is saying that he's also talking about Jared being too hard on himself, that he says, you can't be something you're not. And what he's showing me this is you can't be somebody that's 5'2" when you're 6'2". You can't be somebody that's this. You can't be, a different race when you're not. So there's something about that. And I feel an internal struggle with your son going, why didn't I have this? Or why isn't this going on? I wish I'd have had this. And this guy is saying, you don't understand. You've got everything you need.
Right.
Everything is going to be okay. Realize that what you say can affect and what you do affects other people far beyond what you think you know.
Yes.
And that's a maturity thing. I mean, that's me chiming in. But this man that's coming through, this young man that's coming through is, I don't know, he's just very intellectual on a level that you don't see with somebody this age. I really feel like that he had probably, individuals would have said he had his life in his hands. He was going to have huge things ahead of him.
I know which one you're talking about.
And everybody is like, I can't believe it was all blown away, or it all was just, he lost everything.
Just like that.
Yeah. And that's what he's trying to let Jared know is you can have it all or you can have it gone like that. So
that's a wonderful message to share, though.
Yeah.
I have no problem sharing that.
Yeah.
we can always share messages, but sometimes it's how they receive it.
Yeah.
It's how we, my hope right now is that I feel with this young man that's coming through is that he realizes that Jared is open to this. So by you bringing up, you'll know intuitively, like this is a good time to talk about it. It'll bring up a lot of emotions. Just realize that it's going to be a flood nation. And there may be anger, there may be guilt, there's going to be stuff, but that's all healing.
Right.
That will help him.
I'll listen with him.
Yeah.
So I'd asked you before, and I don't know if he's showing up or not, but
Your dad?
No, about Zachary. We had an episode about him a couple weeks ago, and I'm at a place now where I'm really at peace with a lot of it, and it's taken a long, long time to get there. But I've never had that connection with him from the home where he's at. My dad either. You did try. I was telling Michelle about this when you had come to my house one time a few years back, and you met with one of my friends, and you were doing a reading for her. And I was there for a portion of it, and you were talking about my dad had come through, and I just shut you down. I was just like, nope, don't want to talk to him. Nope. I mean, I just was like, and then I ended up leaving the room and letting you have the whole time with her.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I wasn't obviously ready to hear anything, but
well, you're still mad. You're angry. You're still processing.
It's just, I mean, he's been gone for a long time, but at the same time.
Julie, oh my gosh, you guys, people can be gone for 30, 40 years and we still haven't let it go.
Yeah.
I talk about my mother. You know,
She's still here.
Yeah, my mother, she lost her son. My brother's been gone nearly 40 years now, and my mom still has not handled it, processed it or grieved because she doesn't want to inconvenience anybody else. So,
Really?
Oh yeah.
See, I feel like with my son, I've grieved proper. I feel like I've grieved, when you say properly, I feel like I've gone through those stages. I've learned to understand. I've really tried. And I don't really have anybody else behind that I can think of that.
You have many, many people over there.
Yeah, I
Many
do,
people.
but nobody, like my son obviously is my son. It's like he's my son. And then my dad, he's physically related to me. There's plenty of people that I know on the periphery, I suppose, that are in the afterlife or are home, but they're not necessarily things that are going to be resonating with me as much. Like, my Aunt Sarah died a couple years ago, but she's pretty bitter when she died. And I just wanted her to be happy. And she was for the last several years of her life. And I realized I don't have any control over that. I just kind of let it go, because what do you do? Yeah. I don't know.
So what would you want to know if Zachary was able to say something? I mean, are you wondering what he looks like, what he's doing?
Yeah, all of the above. Just more curious. Like, I think of the subsequent child and children, but more the subsequent child, the one that came after him, and what he's like and the age he's at. And then this little guy would be a year and a half older than him. And what would he be like? What would he be doing? How would he interact with his siblings?
What if that is what you needed to have to not necessarily process or learn, but what if you could look at this as, his passing was, horrific and horrible to lose a child. That should never happen to any mother, mother. But with him leaving, it changed who you were. Changed Julie, everything.
Everything.
I mean, to your tolerance with people, to situations, to what you want to hear, what you don't want to do. I mean, it's almost like I'm getting this sense of like it became black or white. It's like you just became who you were. I don't know if I have him with me, other than I do have a sense that I've got a mail with me that's saying that sometimes the hardest lessons we ask for, we receive. And he's laughing.
Because I didn't really ask for it.
No, well, you may not have asked for it while you were here in the physical, but when you were back in your soul group. Now, this is another conversation of having our soul group, but we have a group of people. There's probably 45, maybe 50 of us that we interchange with each other to bring us lessons. Our children, our siblings, our parents, our friends, our work partners, all are here to give us some. With Zachary, there's something that he brought not just to you, but his daddy. And also to his siblings that they didn't even know him. And so there's that part of like, it wasn't fair that he left before them. And is this, there's that emotion that they've had to deal with. And that's part of what maybe that's what they needed to start to evolve. So with you as a mother or as a father that, has this child it's bigger than just one sentence or two sentences, I can say to you. It's far bigger. It is something positive. It isn't yes, it's horrific what happened. But
was that my lesson?
Was that your lesson, and was that his purpose?
That's what I always wonder.
I'm going to say purpose.
Maybe his purpose?
Because he changed Brian 100%. I don't care what you say to me. I can tell you he says, my dad was changed. That's what I'm getting from this, is that you'll understand someday that this wasn't a mistake, but it also wasn't to bring so much pain that it hurt or harmed people. It was really to effect that beautiful change of what your soul needed. And I know that sounds so fluffy. Ugh.
No, it doesn't. Because I've always wondered about that. I've always kind of looked at it like he was there to teach me about being selfless, about being there for other people. Not that I wasn't before, but I was like, when you have a child, it's a totally different ballgame.
Right.
The nights when you're up all night, and all that, which all parents deal with. But how, like we did that episode, how we grieved was so different. And I really tried the best I could to really find what the positive aspects of whatever they would be, because
Julie,
it's hard
you
to
may
see
not
those.
know now. You may not know until you're back with him.
That's exactly it. I've said, I don't know what the whole process was or the purpose was behind all of that, but I know these kids would not be here.
So what if you use the scenario or the example, the exercise I said of looking outside and say, Zachary, will you show me what I need to see. Find the beauty in that and go, what is it that I need to know about this? You'll get the answers.
Okay.
Because we get hung up on that why. Why did this happen? Why me? And you're never going to get an answer with that.
I'm not in that martyrdom stage at all. I've never really been why me.
No, I don't think you have.
Yeah, it's more been kind of like, okay, what is the reason behind this? There's always been like a reason, and you find platitudes, and as you're going through the healing process,
Right.
and you're saying, this is a much bigger thing than me, and this is, my children wouldn't be here, and blah blah blah. You kind of go through all of those steps of it. But at the same time, it's like, there really has to be a much bigger...
There is.
Yeah,
Sweetie,
reason.
there is. You guys have to know that no matter what you've been through in your life, realize that don't feel like you have to know. Really focus on, what do I need to feel better? And there is this acronym called HALT, H-A-L-T. And it is, you know what? It's taking care of yourself first. Am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? If you really stop and focus on yourself first and go, what is it that I need? You become better.
Yeah.
Because when we all do get to go back, we're going to have the answers.
I think that's the bigger picture, is really having an understanding of that thing that's so intangible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you will. Like I know that he's going to be there. I totally get that.
Oh God, yeah, he will be.
Yeah, he's totally going to get that, and he's going to high five me, probably listen to some Tupac with me, whatever, But I just know it. Does it make it scary to think about leaving the people that are here? I'm still scared. I'm still sad about that idea. But at the same time, I just feel like it's going to be just fine.
Okay, this is post-episode. A little bit of a recap. That
Episode number 2. That was intense.
Mm-hmm, it was.
I so enjoyed it.
Me too.
You don't really realize or know what is going to be coming your way.
Yeah.
But did you notice that when Jen had spirits talking to her, it's like her voice almost changed?
It did. Her demeanor changed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell she was very, I don't want to say focused, but just in tune
with whatever was happening on the, behind, because she's saying, oh, okay. He's using profanity.
And
he's
I liked
going so fast.
Yeah. And I liked that she wasn't drawing information out of us. She would just say, does that make sense? Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
It was very interesting. I got super emotional, of course, when she was talking about my son's friend.
Yeah.
That was emotional. I gave him that portion of the episode, and he did say and confirm with me that a lot of it made sense.
Okay.
So
very, very powerful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting too how spirits can come through to her, and it's not for the people that are necessarily in the room.
Yeah, baton twirler girl.
I know. What's
Can we
up
talk
with
about
that?
That was, I actually like that happened.
Yeah.
So that it wasn't geared towards you and I.
It's very clear, though, she's been very specific about what this woman looks like, what she's wearing, what her talents were, how she died, all of those things, which are part of the evidential.
Yeah, the jewelry, her name, possibly. And it was super specifics. I'm very eager, listeners. If this resonates with any of you, please, please, please let us know. We want to let Jen know, or you can email her.
And do a follow-up even.
Yeah.
If that ends up happening. So it could be way down the road, like she said.
Secretly, I wanted to be baton twirler girl. I was like, who is this woman?
I know.
I wish I was her.
She sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad we had the opportunity to do that, and that all of you got a little insight into the mediumship world. Jennifer, how wonderful she is, and just being able to bring things forward that I don't have the ability to do, at least at this point. I don't know that I ever will. You do definitely have some of those capabilities, that's for sure.
There was a time a few years ago where I was really trying to tap into that, and life circumstances as such kind of pulled me away from putting the time into that. But since we met with Jen, I've been really a little bit more focused and remembering how I really enjoyed that, and brought myself the last couple weeks to paying attention to different things. It's interesting.
It's hard for me to believe that there is nothing else beyond where we're at right now. That would be kind of presumptuous, I think, of us.
For sure.
I welcome it. I think it's true. It makes me honestly feel so much more comforted knowing that when it's my time, that a whole new thing is going to start.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll make it a little easier when the time comes, probably.
Yeah, it was the overall experience because we sat down prior to recording, just having conversation and getting a little bit settled into what we were doing. Just everything we talked about through both of these episodes. It was a very calm feeling to me. I guess that's how I would describe it. It was a calm feeling. It was a reassuring feeling.
Yes.
If I had any words to describe it. So
also, I wanted to mention that we had, I wouldn't say technical difficulties, but our batteries went out on our recording device that we have.
yeah.
And so that signaled kind of the end for Jennifer, because that's kind of how it was meant to be. So you'll notice that we fade out on some comments, but that truly wasn't even going to be the end of what we were doing. It just happened to be the end because of the circumstances. So thank you again all for listening. We would love to have Jennifer come back. Maybe we'll have her come back and talk about some other things that she's working on down the road. But in the meantime, if you would like to reach out to her, she's at jenniferbrazier.com. And for our podcast, Michelle knows all of our contact information.
A blonde, a brunette, and a mic at gmail.com. And of course, you can DM us on any of the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So
until next time, everybody, thanks again and have a good one.
bye.
Bye.